Welcome to this video. My name is Christian from Being Premiere, and I wanted to explore the many connections that we have already on From. What is the story of this town? Why there's a motel pool, a diner, and a church, and a colony house all close to each other? Because Fromville is a place of nightmares, of a darkness that's more than just skin and deep. But what if I told you that the town's secrets are hidden in plain sight? We're going to explore the hidden history of Fromville and those clues you miss. Alright, let's talk about Fromville, because this town is not just a place on a map, it's a character in its own right, and it's got some seriously messed up issues. Think about it. We got those creepy Victorian house, that old-timery diner, a school that looks like straight out of a horror movie, and a church made of stones. And then there's the way the town works, or it doesn't work. No electricity, limited resources, and those talismans. It's like they're living in the past, cut off from the real world. And those monsters that come out at night, they're not just random creatures. I feel that they are part of something bigger, something sinister, or something that's connected to the town itself. I feel like they're soldiers for a general that we have yet to meet. It's like the creator said, it's a nightmare. Nothing worse than being trapped inside a nightmare and having to wait for the bathroom. And that nightmare is not just about the physical horrors, it's also about the psychological pain, the way the town preys on its residents' hopes and fears, the way it can twist even the most mundane experiences into something unsettling. And we're just scratching the surface. Let's talk about those clues, because they're hiding in plain sight, just waiting for us to uncover them. You know, those paintings in Henry's basement, they're not just random. We see the Pilgrim, that Civil War soldier, which suggests unresolved conflict, perhaps a metaphorical battle between good and evil within the town itself, something that Jade saw, and maybe how even the soldier died. They're like windows into the town's past, hinting at a history of journeys, of conflicts, of people seeking something they will never find. And those lighthouse numbers, that 47-year cycle, is a code, and I think it's connected to the town's power, the cyclical nature of the curse. And you know what else is really interesting? The show is using those dreams to give us glimpses of the future, those unsettling premonitions, but it's also bringing elements from those dreams into the real world, like that burn on Kenny's arm, or maybe even the music box. But let's get into something specific, because the writers of From are masters of symbolism, and they're not just throwing random details at us. Remember that Civil War soldier that Jay saw in his vision? Well, I think he's the key to understanding the town's connection to the past, to that year 1864 that keeps popping up. It's like a ghost from the past, a harbinger of the conflict and bloodshed that seems to follow Fromville wherever it goes. And then there's the story of Christopher, and that symbol that Jade keeps seeing. It's like a brand, a mark of the town influence on those who arrive. And you know those creepy kids on the stones chanting Anghkooey, and those 7 stones, they're not just random numbers, it's a motif. Now we see this again in the paintings in the basement of Henry. The 7 stones in the tunnels is all connected. It's like those children are trapped in a cycle, repeating that word over and over again, waiting to be released. But what does Anghkooey mean? What are they trying to tell us? And what's their connection to the town's dark history? To that Civil War soldier? To the Pilgrims? And you know what's really interesting about this season is the way those symbols from the past are starting to bleed into the current season. We got that pilgrim image popping up again, and it's not just in that painting, it's like a motif, a symbol of journeys, of seeking a new life. But in Fromville, those pilgrimage always take a dark turn, and that scene with a man drinking blood from a skull is ritualistic, and it's a direct callback to those ancient stories, those blood sacrifice. It's like the town's story is repeating itself, and these characters, they're caught in a cycle of violence and despair. And those dreams or nightmares, well, they're not just nightmares, they're messages. Tabitha seeing Jim upside down, the numbers showing up in her dream. It's like the town is trying to tell them something, to warn them, or maybe even to manipulate them. Those reverse images, those numbers, they could have hidden meanings, clues to the town's secrets, the nature of the curse. And you know what's really messing with my head? That motel sign in Fromville. It's like a joke, a broken promise. We see that sign, we even see the pool, and it makes you think, wait a second, is there actually a motel in this town? But there's no motel. It's a facade, a symbol of the town's deception. The way it lures people with this false hope of escape. Now, remember also something about the town history, and that is Victor, as we know, is really tragic. Remember, he was just a kid when his mother Miranda told him and Eloise to hide in that root cellar. He was going to save the children in the tower to find a way out of this nightmare. Miranda, as we know, never came back, and she and Eloise may have lost to the town. And Victor, he was left alone, trapped in that darkness, haunted by their memories. I think this is the key to understanding this connection to the town's secrets. Those drawings, those visions of the boy in white, they're not just random. They're a manifestation of this trauma, his guilt, his desperate desire for answers. But let's talk about those unanswered questions, because From Season 3 is raising the stakes. The more we learn about this town, the less we seem to understand what it is. What is the entity controlling Fromville? Is it a god, a demon? Some kind of cosmic horde that feeds off human suffering. In that tower in the lighthouse, what secrets does it hold? What are those trapped children? And how does it all connect to the town twisted mechanics? It's like a puzzle, and we're just starting to put those pieces together. And you know what else is really bugging me? Tilly. She's everywhere, lurking in the background. I will continue to mention her because, I mean, the actress is incredible, but the character itself is just so different from all we have seen so far. But also on this town, we have the caves. The ones that Tabitha fell into after her house collapsed. It's a creepy place. Victor said it's where the monsters sleep. But you know what else is even creepier? That scene where Jade ventures into the caves in Season 2. He's searching for answers, obsessed with that symbol. And when he looks up, bam, there it is, formed by the roots, glowing in the darkness. And those children, those creepy kids, chanting Anghkooey. It's like a scene straight out of nightmares or a horror movie. But what does it all mean? Is it a symbol, a map, a warning, a key to understanding the town? It's like the caves are the heart of this nightmare, and the deeper you go, the more terrifying it gets. And let's talk about those creepy statues that we have seen now in the woods, because they're also weird. They're like something out of the Blair Witch Project, and they're definitely not there to welcome visitors to Fromville. We saw how Jim and Kenny stumble upon them during their search for Tabitha. It was a chilling discovery, and it looks like those statues are guarding something or have some dark secret hidden deep within the forest. Now, you know, those figures with the nails hammered into their heads is a brutal image. It's a direct callback to that poor girl in the woods from Season 2. It's like the town or whatever entity is controlling it is sending a message. This is what happens to those who try to escape, and that connection to the log cabins, that means that Fromville is older than those cabins and those years in the lighthouse could be. So my story goes is that people arrive by boat, and when they arrive into this town, something horrible happened where more and more story and events happen. That is what we're seeing. So we're seeing the story, but we're just seeing not the full picture. We're just seeing frames of it. But the order of it, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing this season. There's a darkness in the woods, a presence that ancient, could be malevolent. We see it actually in the caves. We see the people arriving by boats, and we see that shadowy figure. Maybe he's gonna be important, or it can be important. So yeah, there's so many story that I hope that they connected in a way that makes us really happy. The children, the lighthouse, the town, it's so many things in this crazy place that I just wanted to show everything that we have seen so far. Even the dogs, that's a mystery waiting to be solved. So instead of theory, it's more like unanswered questions. But I wanted to explore the theory about how this town could mean that something happened in the past that is a repeated cycle that is repeating itself for generations like the children. I think those missing years in the lighthouse are going to be really important. But let me know your theories in the comments below. From is a masterclass in psychological horror, and I love this show so much. My name is Christian from Beyond Premiere, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, everyone.